Hello and welcome to Calm the Pharm podcast, where pharmacy business meets legal wisdom, minus the headache. In each episode, we share practical legal tips and real-life examples to help you run your pharmacy with confidence. I'm your host, Sarah Stoddart. Thanks very much for joining us. Today on the podcast, we're talking about expansion and contractions of pharmacy premises. Now, contractions are not as common typically as expansions, other than in circumstances where you may have a big pharmacy space and you're giving up some of that space for a particular reason. However, we are finding expansions becoming more and more common, particularly as pharmacy industry moves towards full scope of practice and increasing their floor size or floor space to include things like consultation rooms, etc., to provide the services to the community. So there is a need, and most people aren't aware of this, there is a need for an application to be lodged to the Department of Health and Aged Care under Rule 121 of the Pharmacy Location Rules where you are expanding or contracting your premises. That is, you must make an application and meet the requirements of those rules. That includes showing that the premises you are expanding to includes the original premises. That is, of course, to ensure that you are not actually relocating, so the department wants to be satisfied that you are indeed expanding and there are some common walls between your existing premises and your expanded premises. You need to satisfy that requirement as well as the standard general requirements set out in the pharmacy location rules, which relate to matters like access from a supermarket, the zoning of the land on which the pharmacy is located, and whether a shop or a pharmacy is permitted on that land, and of course the legal right to occupy requirement. So you need to have a legal right to actually be occupying the space that you're expanding into, as well as, of course, your original premises. So an expansion application is lodged to the Department of Health. Now, typically, although you are making an application under the pharmacy location rules, the application does not go to the Australian Community Pharmacy Authority unless the department decides that it needs to. So typically, the applications are considered by the department in-house, so to speak, and we get an outcome. As part of that process, you would also need to notify the state regulator regarding the expansion, and for that to happen before the Department of Health will issue final approval, so to speak. Now, the requirements of the state regulators, of course, vary from state to state, so you should check or obtain advice on what applies in your state. For some states, it will be a full-blown expansion application and they will want plans, etc. For other states, it might be a little bit more relaxed or smooth and streamlined in terms of what is required. But what is really important is to know that if you are expanding your premises, you need approval to do so. If you expand the premises and you don't obtain approval, you may find the department will come knocking, or alternatively, even if they don't come knocking, when you go to do something with your pharmacy, for example, sell it down the track, you're guaranteed to run into issues because the plans, your leases, floor size, etc., isn't going to line up with the department records, and that's going to hold up the change of ownership application. So if you are expanding a premises or thinking about expanding a premises, please make sure you obtain advice on that process, and please make sure you lodge your application under Rule 121 of the Pharmacy Location Rules and also satisfy your state requirements. Hope that's been helpful today. If you have any questions or need any information around what is involved in an expansion application, please do feel free to get in touch. This one is quick and snappy episode today, but really important to keep the content in mind if you're doing something exciting and new in your pharmacy premises. That's particularly so given the excitement of expanding and how that's going to look, and the design can be quite exciting, and these regulatory matters and legal matters can often be overlooked. So keep it in mind. If we can assist, get in touch. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.